Hey everyone! I'm skipping the intro today because if you're watching this, you already know who I am. And if you don't know who I am, look at the rest of the videos on my channel. I was talking with Tara the other day and she actually suggested that I do a Q&A video. So you have Tara to thank for this. On Monday, March 15th, I went ahead and asked Instagram for some questions. I took a few to answer today. So, here we go. What made you decide to come out of hiding? I got this question a lot in some form or another. The short answer is that I was worried that I was going to be doxxed. Tara and I loved keeping the mystery alive. We really did. And so years ago, we decided that we were going to do whatever it took to keep the mystery alive for as long as possible. We loved watching the internet try to figure out who we were. It was so funny to us because there were so many people out there who were absolutely convinced they knew what happened to Tara and Raven, but they were wrong. And we loved that. We thought it was so funny. And so we really didn't want to come out of hiding at all. That said, though, another reason why we didn't want to come out was because we were subjected to a lot of hate whenever we were first on YouTube. Anyone who's an artist or a content creator knows that you can't please everyone. And I knew this. Tara knew this. We knew that no matter what we did, no matter how funny we thought we were, not everyone was gonna understand and not everyone was gonna like it. Going into this, I knew that we would be on the receiving end of some negativity because after all, I created Tara and Raven because I wanted to troll people. I wanted people to get upset. I wanted people to call us posers. And they did, kind of, but I wasn't really expecting the reactions to be so personal. Sure, there were people in our comments who were telling us we were really funny and that they could tell that this was a joke and that we were expert trolls and all of this really, really great stuff. But all of that was unfortunately outweighed by the extreme harassment that we were subjected to. Every single day for years, every single day, there was someone who was telling us that we should kill ourselves, that we should have been aborted, that they hoped that our whole family got cancer and died. There were people saying that if we didn't kill ourselves, they would find us and do it for us. And that's a lot to handle. We worried that if we were to come back out, we would be faced with the same type of negativity and harassment that we were faced with in the early days of YouTube. Why would anyone purposefully do that, you know? If I wasn't worried about being doxxed, well then we probably wouldn't have said anything. Somebody had made the connection that Raven looked like a baby version of my work persona, Petra. As a sex worker, getting doxxed is really dangerous. I was so worried that someone out there was gonna get so caught up in this internet manhunt that somebody would accidentally say something that could really put me at risk. I was really worried that if I didn't come out, it would have a negative impact on my career as well as my own personal safety. I only came out because it was a power grab. I can't be doxxed if I dox myself, you know? How did you create Raven and Tara? Well, Tara and Raven were a loving parody of who I used to be. YouTube was really new at the time and I wanted a career related to comedy. I had recently discovered 4chan and so I had started to become familiar with trolling and that sort of thing. As someone who was formerly a very cringy, emo, mall goth type of person, I knew that I could troll these people by playing a much elevated version of my former self. So that's pretty much it. Whenever I was making the videos, all I had to do was just ask myself, okay, what could I possibly do that would piss off myself when I was 13? We filmed in Tara's room, for example, instead of any other room in the house because her room was the most innocent looking. And I loved the juxtaposition of these two kids who thought they were, you know, super hardcore, super tough, but yet they're sitting in this room with like blue polka dots on the walls and a peace sign poster, and you know, they're not even wearing all black. And you can also see that juxtaposition in our names. I loved the juxtaposition of saying, "Hi, I'm Raven, the acid bath princess of the darkness," and then having my sister say, "And I'm Tara." Cause like, it's so funny, right? When you think about it that way, like there's this over the top, over dramatic character taking herself super seriously next to someone who's also taking herself super seriously, except she doesn't have a ridiculous name to back it up with. Raven wasn't my first goth character, and so by that point I knew that ideally I wanted my character to have a name that was believable enough that it could be someone's real name, but it's also a name that a mall goth would rebrand themselves as. I wanted my sidekick to have a name that was so simple and normal and plain and almost preppy. So that's where Tara came in. I also knew that I wanted a really ridiculous title. I wanted a title that was over the top, dramatic. So that's how I became Raven, the acid bath princess of the darkness. From what I remember, I just strung together a bunch of words in my head and just spat them out. I don't really think I put too much thought into what I wanted my title to be because my title doesn't even make sense, you know? Like, what the fuck is an acid bath princess of the darkness? That makes no sense whatsoever. Were you alternative in real life when filming the troll videos, or did it happen later? Here's a little bit about my own personal timeline. I had my own emo phase from probably like 12 through part of 15 or so. I didn't consider myself emo at the time because emo was an insult back then. Nobody wanted to be emo. So even though I was emo, I called myself goth. So if you came up to me whenever I was 12 through 15 or whatever and asked me if I was emo, I would have hated you. I would have denied it. It was only in hindsight that I was able to say, oh, okay, yeah, I was totally emo then. But in that time period, I considered myself goth. So I was goth, and then I was not goth, but still weird. I was into punk, I was into Nirvana, I was into Nine Inch Nails. So I was still alternative to some degree, but the label was less important to me. And labels have never really been that important to me, except for when I was like 12 through 15 or whatever. There was a very brief period after I filmed the videos, probably around like a few months, where I tried to be a little bit more normal. It didn't work. I grew up and my style evolved into whatever the fuck it is now. I came to terms with being an adult emo when I was about 28. I'm full of angst. I am so full of angst. I say that I'm emo because I'm a very emotional person. I have a lot of feelings. I listen to emo and I love it. And instead of trying to fight it, I embrace it. I hope that answers your question. How did you come up with the video ideas so easily? I have no idea, honestly. I think it just came naturally. I think it was a lot easier for me to come up with ideas back then because I was doing a lot more creative work. And, you know, right now, as an adult, it's a lot harder for me to come up with creative ideas because I spend so much time as it is just trying to survive. I don't necessarily have the same luxuries of brainstorming and exploring all of these different creative ideas as, you know, I had when I was 17, 18, 19. I miss that. That's definitely something that I want to get a little bit better about, but everything's harder when you're an adult. Were the posters you made about Davey Havok and Prince pre-planned from the Bloody Valentine video? Yes, absolutely! Those were definitely things that we added for comic effect. A lot of our videos were, you know, totally improvised, but we went in usually with a somewhat vague idea of what we were gonna do. And in some videos, we knew that we wanted to do things that required just a tiny, tiny bit of additional planning, like making a Davey Havok and Prince poster. What part of the list of things you liked and you didn't like was real, and what was acting? That was all acting. I mean, granted, whenever Tara and I were going through our actual emo/molgoth phases, of course we didn't like preps, of course we didn't like jocks, you know? But I was 19 in that video, right? I didn't give a shit about Davey Havok's hair. I didn't give a shit about Twilight. I wasn't interested in any of that. But I knew that for this video, we had to create a list of super cringy things. So we just kind of brainstormed and came up with ideas. All acting. Are you still a Twilight fan? I was never a Twilight fan, you guys. Tara and I used Twilight as a joke because Twilight was super popular and it was the new it thing. Twilight fans back then were such an easy target. Everyone was making fun of emo kids, scene kids, mall goths, Twilight fans, Harry Potter fans, whatever. It was a no-brainer in a lot of ways to make our characters obsessed with Twilight. Did your parents know about your channel? If so, what did they think? Yes, our parents knew about the channel. To them, though, it wasn't anything weird or different or unusual, simply because Tara and I had such a long history of collaborating on creative projects together. Seriously, pretty much our entire lives, we were involved in some sort of comedic or otherwise creative project. So with that in mind, whenever we said that we were filming some videos for YouTube, our parents were like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Because like we did this kind of stuff all the time. As far as our parents were concerned, this was just another fun project for us. When you became popular on YouTube for your emo videos, did kids at school notice? I've gotten that question a lot too, and no. For the most part, nobody really cared. Sure, you know, we posted our videos on YouTube in 2008 and 2009, but they didn't really get traction until about late 2012. Even though I looked really, really young, I was Raven from 17 to 19. We started uploading to YouTube right before I left for college. By late 2012, when they had started to slowly gain traction, I had already graduated. Tara is my younger sister. She's younger than me by 2 years. She experienced people knowing about the videos just a little bit more than I did. Because Tara was in high school still whenever we did post the videos, she had more people who knew about them. And so whenever the videos started to get a little bit bigger, all of a sudden, people that went to high school with her started using her for clout. Even if they weren't even friends, they started saying stuff like they helped her with ideas for the video, they were there when the videos were filmed, everyone was in on it. The videos were a private joke between them and their friend group, all of this shit, right? And it's just absolutely not true. So yeah. The biggest deal that it has ever been for me or Tara or anyone in our respective friends group is whenever I came out in January. What was your initial reaction when your videos first started to get popular? So I actually remember where I was whenever I found out that our videos had started to gain traction. It was the night of my 23rd birthday. I was about to fall asleep. Tara called me. We usually texted, right? So if she was calling me, then I should probably answer. And she said, oh my god, you have to go look at the channel. All of a sudden we have a bunch of views. I think at the time a bunch of views was like 10,000 views or something like that. That just goes to show that from the time we uploaded them in 2008, 2009, it took years until people actually found them. So by the time that she called me, I had stopped paying attention to the channel because I just kind of figured that no one would ever care. She called me, I pulled up YouTube, I saw the view count, it was so weird, it was so surreal, but I just remember thinking like, wait, what? Why did it take 5 years for people to start paying attention? So more than anything, I was just confused, you know? Because when I made the videos, I wanted them to gain traction. I wanted a career in comedy, and I wanted these videos to lead to bigger things for me. I posted the videos on 4chan, I tried to share them here and there on Facebook. They never took off, no matter how hard I tried. To find out years and years later that they had started to take off was really weird. I just remember thinking like, why now? It was confusing, to say the least. Cool, for sure, but confusing. Would you go back to change the vids you and Tara made in any way if you could? No, not at all. Absolutely not. I mean, watching some of them, I think some of them are definitely not funny. Whatever, you know? Not everything that I put out is gonna be gold. Not everything that I put out is gonna be hilarious. I mean, look at my fucking TikTok channel. So much of the stuff that I've put out there is just, like, it's flopped. Sometimes I say that if I could change anything, I would change the fact that I stopped filming. I would like to think that things would have worked out a little bit different for me if I had kept filming. But realistically, I have no way of knowing if that's true or not. I think one of the reasons why this channel has a legacy in this niche part of the internet is that we created these videos and then we just disappeared. And as much as I would love to think, well, maybe things would have been different if I had kept filming, maybe new opportunities for me to explore comedy would have happened if I had just kept filming. Even if I think these things, the truth is I have no idea if it would have happened that way or not. I could have kept filming and the channel could have crashed and burned. So, you know, it's hard to say for sure. I'm glad things worked out the way they did. What's your favorite video filmed? I don't think I could pick a favorite because it's gonna change, you know? It's gonna ebb and flow. The Going Under video that we filmed with Azer, like, it's just so good. The 2009 New Year's video, and that one is really, really good too. Such gold. The Simple Plan one has a few little jokes in there that are just so good. Maybe my favorite video is one that I haven't even filmed yet. Has anyone recognized you as Raven in real life? Yeah, I have been recognized to some extent. No one has recognized me, Sarah, as Raven. People have always recognized me as Raven through Petra, my work persona. I have no idea who made that connection or, you know, who saw these videos and said, oh my god, this person looks like a baby version of this dominatrix. I have no idea how people put 2 and 2 together, but they totally did. It started in probably about 2018, and maybe every 6 months or so, someone would DM me or like tag me in a tweet or something and ask if Petra was Raven. But because I had that pact with Tara, we wanted to keep it as secret as possible, and because we both were worried that coming out would subject us to the same amounts of hatred that we experienced on YouTube, I just denied it. And the fact that I had made Raven so much younger than I actually was really helped. So starting in about 2018, whenever people approached Petra asking if Petra was Raven, it was really easy for me to say, oh my god, I've seen those videos and I can see the similarities, but I'm so much older than they are. I was in college, and that was usually enough to put everything to rest. People started recognizing Petra as Raven a little bit more frequently around 2019, and in 2020, with the rise of TikTok, it really took off from there. But me, Sarah, I have never been stopped on the street and asked if I was Raven, the Acid Bath Princess of the Darkness. Did you see Daz Games' reaction to you guys? Yes, of course. The thing is though, it's a complicated one for me to talk about because the video that Daz reacts to, it was our video, but it was a video that was ripped from our channel and re-uploaded by someone else to their own channel. So whenever Daz pulls up the video that he's reacting to, while he is reacting to our content, he's reacting to our content that was uploaded by someone else. And I mean, I know mistakes happen, I get it. But there is still a part of me that's a little bit upset about it because for a video that has millions of views, I just wish that my account had been properly attributed. That's all. Can y'all please recreate the going under video? I know, it would be really, really fun, and I would absolutely love that, but because Tara does not want to come forward, I don't want to recreate any videos if Tara's not by my side. How's Tara? I get so many questions about Tara, and it's really, really sweet. Tara's great. She's my younger sister, and as most of you know by now, she just does not have social media at all. She does lurk my Raven accounts every now and again, and I do send her screenshots, so she sees comments sometimes. She knows that she's loved, and she knows that y'all miss her, but at the end of the day, she just doesn't really want to come forward. One of the reasons why she doesn't want to come forward is because she has a family now. She's a wonderful mother, and because she and I were subjected to so much hate as young people on the internet, she doesn't want her family to be subjected to any of that as a result. She loves all of you, but she is very, very happy living offline. Can you tell Tara that we love her? I hope she knows we love her. Okay. So, disclaimer, I have no idea if she's actually going to answer or not. It's kind of rare that she actually picks up my phone calls because she's busy like being a mom and stuff, but okay, we'll see. Fingers crossed. Oh God.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so, wow, I can't believe you answered. I'm filming that Q&A video that you told me that I should do, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the questions is, can you tell Tara we love her? I hope she knows we love her. You're on speakerphone, by the way.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
I told him that, you know, you lurk and I send you screenshots and stuff, but
Yes.
I impulsively decided to grab my phone and call you, and you actually picked up. Ah!
I did. Very sweet. And I do, sorry, I am trying to wrangle my child here. But that is very sweet, and the internet can know that I love them back. The nice part of the internet.
Yeah, the nice part of the internet.
Yeah, the nice part of the internet. Everyone else can jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, now I feel weird that I said that. But I do have to keep this short, though, because it is almost dinner time.
You gotta do mom stuff. Okay, you wanna say it real quick? Just like real
you're
quick?
breaking up on me.
Oh no, all right, never mind. Okay, bye.
Bye!
Well, that was cool. Can you please make t-shirts with you and Tara on them? I know, I need to make some shirts. It's really hard to figure out what kind of designs are going to sell. I don't want to order like 250 shirts if they're not gonna sell, you know? Because then what am I gonna do with those 250 shirts? I had thought at first about using some print-on-demand services. Unfortunately though, print-on-demand services mean that in order for me to make any semblance of a profit at all, y'all are gonna have to be paying like $40 or something like that. It's just a weird position to be in because I have no idea what y'all are gonna want. And I feel the same way with creating content now. I have no idea what y'all are gonna wanna see me do. I mean, do you wanna see me as Raven making other Raven related videos? Do you wanna just see content from back in the day that I never released? Do you wanna see me as Sarah doing other comedy characters? It's a lot. I know you didn't write it, but have you read My Immortal? If so, thoughts? Yes! Of course I've read My Immortal. I think it's great. I wish that I had written it, honestly, because it's just so good. It's like the perfect piece of troll fiction, and I love it. What YouTubers did you watch back when you did your videos? When I first discovered YouTube, I was probably like 15. I remember YouTube in, 2005, 2006, 2007 as a place where I could go watch whatever music videos and live music performances that I wanted. Tara and I grew up in a home that heavily censored all of our media. We weren't really allowed to watch TV. We didn't grow up with cable. We barely went to go see the movies. It was a really, it sucked. Since I didn't grow up with MTV, all of a sudden here was this place where I could watch music videos, and it was incredible. So that's what I used YouTube for to begin with. After making the videos, I didn't really keep up with YouTube. I don't know if that's because subconsciously it was kind of painful for me because I had wanted to be successful on YouTube back in the day, and instead I was met with like nothing but hatred. Maybe that's why. I am so out of the loop when it comes to YouTubers and who's doing what and who's popular and what people want to see. Which emo bracelet style did you prefer in the early 2000s? Studded or jellies? Studded, all the way. Pyramid stud, everything. I loved it. I loved the arm cuffs. I had pyramid stud belts. I loved everything. I had some of the jelly bracelets too, because we all did, but I loved the studs. I wasn't allowed to wear anything with actual spikes on it, but I sure as hell would have if I could have. But I was not allowed. My parents wouldn't let me. Do you make music? No, I don't. I wish I did, but I am just not musically inclined in that way. I took piano lessons when I was a kid. I took dulcimer lessons for a little bit when I was a kid. I took 1 semester of piano in college. But in terms of actually learning an instrument and practicing said instrument, that's something that just does not appeal to the way that my brain works. Are you excited for the new AFI album? Okay, honestly, I didn't even know that they are coming out with a new album. I stopped listening to AFI after December Underground, and I never really kept up with their recent stuff. My favorite AFI albums are always gonna be anything that was released before December Underground. I think it's great that they're still around and still producing music, and I do intend on listening to it at some point, but I'm not following them as closely as I did in, 2003. Who are your current fashion inspirations? I know this is gonna sound really boring, but I'm kind of out of the loop with fashion. I wish that I could say something that was a lot more exciting, but the reality of the situation is that I don't really buy clothes for myself that often. When I have disposable income, I put it towards things that I need for my job. I buy clothes for work way more than I buy clothes for me. This dress is something that I bought in, I want to say spring of 2016. I also really hate clothes shopping, so there's that. I also stay at home a lot, so even if I were fashionable, where would I wear it, I wish I had a better answer. Will you make an OnlyFans? I have too. I'm also on AVN Stars for those of you who don't like OnlyFans. How did you end up becoming a dominatrix, and what did you want to be when you grew up when you were a kid? It's really hard for me to talk about my job. I have to be really, really careful because talking about these things means that I risk having my platforms shut down. The language in the terms of service on these social media platforms does not allow for people like me to exist. These platforms will crack down on sex workers. They also crack down on sex educators and sex positive artists and things like that. And these crackdowns are only getting worse. And it really, really sucks. Even if I said, oh, I'm not telling people this is what you need to do in order to be a sex worker, I'm just providing education. That doesn't mean shit. I would love to talk about my job, I really would, but I have to figure out a way to do it that is safe and that does not put my accounts at risk. But to answer the question though, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a lot of things. There was a period where I wanted to be an Egyptologist. I wanted to be a herpetologist for a few years. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be a writer, and I wanted to be a comedian. I owned a soap company when I was very young. Nothing happened there. I owned an ice cream shop very briefly in my early 20s, and yeah, now I'm a dominatrix. So that concludes part 1 of my Q&A video series. Thanks for watching!